I am honored to welcome our next moderator. Dr. Dombrowski, are you on? I see you on. Welcome.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. I'm going to let you tell us a little bit about yourself and introduce your speaker.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Can you all hear me and see me?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. So thank you, Lisa, and thank you for the HITLAB team for inviting us and organizing the symposium. And I'd also like to thank our audience for joining this session on photonics and quantum technologies. So I am Wen Dombrowski. I'm a physician and a tech innovator, and I'm Chief Convergence Officer for Catalaize. And today I'm joined here with my colleague, Nardo Manaloto, who is also CEO of Catalaize, as well as starting some new ventures he's going to be talking about. And just as some background about Catalaize, our company Catalaize, we advise investors, tech companies, healthcare, and other industries on new technologies and the industry innovations. So our clients include multiple Fortune 10, Fortune 500, small, medium businesses, nonprofits, and also startups globally. And we've served a range of different investors, payers, providers, retail, pharma, medical device, and manufacturing. So we really come to the conversation from this perspective of having seen the wide continuum of care, both clinically, the clinical continuum of care, as well as the broader ecosystem of healthcare. So with that, today I'd like to focus our conversation on the new exciting venture fund and startup accelerator that Nardo has recently launched in the quantum and photonic space. And Nardo has really been a trend spotter, tech trend spotter and early adopter for emerging technologies for many years, including even more than a decade ago, he was creating complex AI systems and AI applications. And so his involvement now in quantum and related technologies is really a natural extension of his prior experience. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nardo, if maybe you can tell the audience a little bit about yourself, your background.
Thanks, Wen. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here. I'm Nardo Manaloto, the managing partner of Qubits Venture Fund and the managing director of the Founder Institute Quantum and Photonics Startup Accelerator. In addition to being a deep tech investor, I am also a computer scientist and enterprise architect. Was chief product officer for multiple AI startups, and have over 25 years in healthcare technology experience, including being a former director for Kaiser Permanente on the innovation and system transition side of things, where we did quite a bit of work in proof of technology and proof of concepts, pilot projects, and scaling technology companies from pilot to an enterprise level.
That's great. And so, I'm curious, why are you excited about quantum and photonic technologies? I know this has not been, mainstream yet in healthcare, so I'm curious, why are you so interested in it right now?
Well, as a tech trend spotter, as you said, when I'm really excited about quantum and photonics, mainly because the potential of these horizontal technologies to solve complex global problems across all of the different sectors and industry is really there. And you know how complex healthcare, pharma, and life sciences are, and so on and so forth. So these technologies will be a game changer and instrumental in making big social and global impact in healthcare, biotech, pharma, medical devices, finance, energy, climate, and other industries. So, quantum technology will also improve AI in a very significant way. And, healthcare is big in AI. There's a recent press release that just came out of Los Alamos National Laboratory that came out today, talking about quantum and AI breakthrough that will shrink the amount of data we need to train AI models. So this is leaning towards what we call quantum advantage, which means this is something that quantum computing can do much better and faster than our classical computing systems.
Great. Yeah, I totally agree with you that quantum technologies are really powerful and going to have a big impact on healthcare, biopharma, other industries. It's really going to be a big paradigm shift. And so before I ask you about some use cases for quantum and photonics within the healthcare life sciences space, maybe can you just give us a quick crash course on what is quantum? I mean, sometimes we see this word thrown around in different ways, and this might be a new topic for our audience. So yeah, if you could just give us a quick crash course on quantum. And while you're doing that, I'd like to invite our audience to post any questions in the chat and to feel free to connect on LinkedIn.
Okay, sure, Wen. I will try to provide a simple explanation of a very complicated topic of quantum. So a quantum is really, I call this the smallest discrete unit of a phenomenon, right? So the word quantum itself comes from Latin meaning an amount or how much, right? So for example, a quantum of light is a photon. So the smallest amount of light is called a photon. A quantum of electricity is an electron, right? So other quantum particles that are out there are atoms and neutrons, and there are many more. These quantum particles are being used as part of quantum computers called as computing bits. So these new kinds of computing bits are called qubits, which stands for quantum bits, right? So, and I just also wanted to give a little bit of primer related to quantum computing and classical computing. So quantum computing calculates with qubits, which you just heard, which can represent zeros and one at the same time. Classical computing calculates using, with transistors that we have right now on the chips, which can either represent 0 or 1. So quantum computing also increases exponentially in proportion to the number of qubits. In classical computing, it's more of a linear increase based on the number of transistors. Current state of quantum computers right now have high error rates. Classical computers have been around for a long time and have low error rates. And quantum computers are really suited for things like, complex optimization problems, data analysis, AI simulations, and then classical computers are used for handling, simple tasks like email, project management related things, creating presentations and stuff like that.
Great, yeah, the science behind quantum is very interesting, and I know it's deep and people spend their lifetimes understanding it. So thanks for that overview. And today, since we have an audience of many healthcare executives, tech developers, and a range of other stakeholders, can you tell us, based on your experience, Nardo, what are some of the top use cases for quantum within healthcare and life sciences?
Yes.
And also, while you're doing it, I just want to remind the audience, feel free to post any questions, comments in the chat.
Yeah, so some of the, there's definitely a lot of use cases related to quantum and AI. So you could apply quantum in predictive analytics, pricing analytics. You could look at using quantum for resource scheduling optimization. For example, how do we manage our nurses, in the scheduling optimization around that. You could look at it from a drug discovery and repurposing, so molecular design, looking into protein folding. You can also look at it from drug discovery and repurposing, disease detection and monitoring in the areas of like medical imaging using brain scans with quantum sensors. So quantum sensors are a more near-term approach to quantum technologies. Other use cases include things like tumor demarcation, surgical planning, blood flow analysis, precision measurement at scale, right? So things like micro movement detection. So a good example of that is like, can you track a specific drug molecule going inside of your body, from a specific molecule perspective, right? So that's not something we could do now, but it's possible using quantum sensors. And then things in the areas of precision medicine, genomic sequencing, bioinformatics, biological engineering, and medical devices as well.
Thanks for that overview of use cases for quantum. And earlier you briefly mentioned about Qubits Ventures Fund and your quantum photonics accelerator. We'd love to hear more about that in our last few minutes. Can you share about that?
Okay, yeah, sure. Thanks, Wen. So really, Qubits Venture is a venture capital fund. We specialize in quantum and photonic startups. We look at startups, creating quantum applications such as simulations, optimization, cryptography, AI, ML, We're also looking at quantum system software, such as programming tools, utilities and platforms, quantum and photonics devices, components, chips, semiconductors. You know, the computer itself doesn't build itself up unless you have these components and chips. And also the world that we're going to live in is what we call hybrid or transitional technologies, where we can make classical and quantum computing work together in a seamless fashion. I also want to mention, you know, we also have a quantum and photonics startup accelerator in partnership with Founder Institute. We help early stage startups succeed from a business operations, finance, technology, product, and go-to-market perspective. We are taking applications now for our first cohort starting October 2022. And so far, we have accepted 3 quantum AI and healthcare applicants into the cohort. So you can see there's a lot of excitement in there. And also watch out for a press release on innovation contest on quantum and photonics coming out this week as well. And as part of my parting words, I would like to encourage healthcare organizations to start exploring quantum technologies and computing so they can become ready for the implementation of this exponential capability.
Thanks, Nardo. So in the interest of time, I'm going to turn it back to Lisa with HITLAB. Thanks to everyone who participated in our session today. Thank you.